So my name is Lauren Fortier. I'm a nurse practitioner at UMass Memorial in the pediatric ICU, where I have the honor of working with children of all ages and all medical needs. I started as a nurse at Boston Children's as a new graduate nurse, really not knowing what I wanted to do or where I wanted my path to go, and worked in an ICU step-down unit working with children with complex medical needs. And those first few years as a nurse were sort of an eye-opening experience for me of things that I didn't even realize were happening in people's homes, in people's lives. And really it was an opportunity to absorb the experience that a lot of these parents had with complex kids. The needs that their children had, the exhaustion that it created, the love that they got from their children in different ways than I think a lot of the world knows about. So that was a wonderful experience to learn about children with chronic illness, complex needs, and a lot of children with lifespans that were going to be expected to be shortened. And as a new graduate nurse, I built a lot of skills with these families, and I feel like I learned alongside them often, which was a really special opportunity. Then I became a nurse practitioner and stepped away from the bedside for a few years, working in a clinic, and realized that wasn't where I belonged. I needed to be back at the bedside, and then started at UMass in a different capacity as a nurse practitioner at the bedside, working alongside the entire team. My role there is very varied. Every day is something different, and some days I'm working with the providers a lot, some days I'm working with the nurses a lot, and some days I'm really at the bedside working with families who need a lot more support and need some help and guidance and understanding. I pride myself on being a bridge. I think having the experience of the bedside nurse and now having more experience as the provider role, I think that nurse practitioners offer a really valuable insight to both parties. So at times when the providers aren't understanding why what they're ordering or thinking is best for the child, why that can't be done, there's often a lack of understanding of the practicality or the practical side of things of, well, why don't we just implement this treatment 3 times a day, and what that would really look like, how it would impact the child's attendance to school, or the family's ability to provide those cares. Is this going to cause financial stress, emotional stress, all those things? So providing a lot of that practical understanding for the providers, I think, is an important role for the nurse practitioner, at least for in my role as a nurse practitioner. And then vice versa, having understanding of the nursing role, and when the nurses feel that the providers aren't hearing them, aren't hearing their concerns, or are instructing them to do things that aren't realistic or feasible, working with the nursing team to discuss, well, here's the reason why. What can we do? What can we adjust or change here so that we can, from a practical side, meet the objective and provide this change of care or provide this new therapy in a way that's going to be more reasonable and doable for this family, or more in line with their goals. We also have the advantage of time, because we're not held to the 15-minute visit standards that the outpatient setting is held to. So having the bedside nurse be consistent and be someone that the family's comfortable with and used to is so important, so that they can have that relationship. And then the provider team. And as a nurse practitioner in the pediatric ICU, I get to stay. I stay in the ICU. Our residents rotate. So every 4 weeks, it's a different set of faces. I feel honored that I get to be that continuity. Even within our attending group, they're rotating, and there's certainly more continuity with our attendings than with the residents, but I feel so fortunate to be able to be some of that continuity for our families that are coming in multiple times, that they come back in and we're not starting from scratch.